In this video, we're going to go over one of the most important parts of printing from the Lightroom print module, and that has to do with the settings found here under Print Job. Let me open that up. So your first choice is where you want to print to. You can print to a printer or a JPEG file. So let's walk through what it means to print to a JPEG file. You may ask yourself, now why do I want to print to a JPEG file? Well, there are people who prefer not to use their own printer or to waste ink, if you will, but to have someone else print it for them. But they really like some of the options they have in the Lightroom print module. For example, the custom picture packages, or just the custom packages where you make your own layout and you want to be able to send that file off to someone else to print. So here you can choose print to a JPEG file. And if you choose that, you can also choose your file resolution, print sharpening, JPEG quality, suggest that goes all the way to the right, which will give you the highest possible quality. And also you can put in custom file dimensions here. So those are the main settings that you worry about when you print to a JPEG file. And when you're done, if you select print to file, you'll see that you'll have an option of where to send that JPEG on your hard drive. So let's cancel that. I'm going to go back up here under print to and change this to printer. All right, so you can see now my options have changed, and I'll walk you through the different options. Now the first option is draft mode printing. Now you may ask yourself, why would I want to do draft mode printing? It's making a very kind of low resolution, poor quality. And frankly, I don't use draft mode printing much. But there is a time when I do use it, and that's when I have used over here in the template browser a contact sheet with multiple images. Could very well be hundreds of images on a contact sheet, several contact sheets. If I don't select draft mode printing and I go to print that contact sheet, let's say with 100 pictures on it, you know how long it'll take to render every one of those images and then reduce the size and then finally print? And you don't need that high quality rendering that goes on. If you select draft mode printing, it'll render very fast and then you can print right away. So that's something that I recommend you use if you're making a contact sheet in the Lightroom print module. So let me go back over here, make that selection, and we'll deselect that for now. So the next choice you have is print resolution. I go with the 240 ppi, which is the default. My Epson printer, that's what it recommends, so I just stick with that. As far as print sharpening goes, we can choose low, standard, or high. This is going to be personal preference, but you do have those choices. A media type, glossy or matte, that you just have to know what you're printing to, and then you make the selection. A 16-bit output. You know, I've done a lot of printing to 16-bit output, and supposedly you get better gradation between colors, but frankly, it takes a lot longer to print. Not all printers handle 16-bit. And I just haven't seen that big a difference. So it's up to you, but you have that option of printing 16-bit if you want. Now under color management, this is where we get into some kind of critical stuff, because this is where you're going to either be really happy with your print or you're not going to be happy. So let me try to explain the best way to make this work. If you choose managed by printer, you're handing off the work to the printer to make your choices. The print driver you make your choices there, and Lightroom will not do any of the conversion. The printer driver does it. You can also, if you want, load other profiles. Now, some people have specific profiles for specific paper, for specific printers. And if you load that, that means that then Lightroom is managing the color. And then you just have to make sure, the only thing to remember then is you got to turn off the management from the print driver side. You can't have both of them trying to manage because it's going to be a bad print. And then as far as perceptual or relative, these are only options if you've chosen for Lightroom to manage the color management by loading another profile. And perceptual, relative, you're just going to have to play with one or the other to see what works best. There's a reason for one and a reason for the other, and it really depends on what you're printing and what you're printing to. Print how the printer acts in relationship to Lightroom. So this is something that you're going to have to adjust as you go along. If it prints too dark, you can brighten up with this slider. You can add some contrast. Again, this is going to have to be something you test depending on the printer you're using and your personal taste, really. All right, so once these settings are all in place and you're ready to go, you simply select print, and this is assuming you have your page set up, your print settings all done. I would definitely check over here to make sure that you want page 7 of 8 printed and not just one. This is a mistake I've made before, and I'm going to make sure that I've only selected one image instead of all of those images. And then you just hit the printer, and that opens up the print driver, and you make your settings there depending on what printer and what paper, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so now you're done. You're ready to go. You're printing. You're really happy with the print that was made. I suggest then you select this option up here, Create Saved Print. I'll do that right now. You can give that print a name, whatever you want to name it. It could be a descriptive name. You can tell it where to go, which collection to go into. I think I'll put it into this print collection, and I'll include only used photos. I just want the one that was used, not all the ones in the film strip. And create. Now watch what happens over here. You can see it appears as print 2. I could have given a better name than that. And all those settings, everything I just went through to get that ready to print, are saved along with that. Now, when I'm back over here in the library module, or in fact, any of the modules, if I hold my cursor over that print, you see the arrow appears, and I click on that, and it'll take me right to the print module, and I'm ready to go. I can print that print, and I know that all my settings are correct because I've already done it. I've gone through it. I've already tested everything. It's a great feature to be able to save your settings that way. So you can also create a user template over here, give it a name, put it into your user templates folder, and then you can apply those same settings to other images or multiple images. So Lightroom's print module, I think, is one of the most exciting, one of the most useful parts of Lightroom, especially if you really like printing your own work, or if you just want to create JPEG files of your print packages to send out to someone else to print. Okay, so that's the settings that are very important in the Lightroom print module.